Imagine spending years hiding your feelings from the one person who changed everything. Tonight, Shen Yue finally breaks her silence, and what she reveals about Miles Wei will leave you breathless. The air was thick with silence, the kind that holds 1,000 unsaid words and emotions too heavy to carry. Shen Yue sat quietly under the dim lights of the studio, her fingers trembling against a cup of untouched coffee. Cameras had stopped rolling hours ago, yet her heart felt as though it was still performing. For months, rumors had flooded every corner of the internet about her and Miles Wei. Fans speculated, critics debated, and the media refused to let go. But tonight, something changed. Tonight, she finally spoke. Before we dive deeper into this emotional revelation, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned, because what Shen Yue revealed will shake everything you thought you knew about her and Miles Wei. This isn't just another story, it's the confession that will redefine their entire connection, both on-screen and off. It all began during their late-night rehearsal for their upcoming drama, one that had already stolen the hearts of millions. The set was quiet except for the faint hum of the background score. Miles sat across from her, his script laid open but unread. There was something in his eyes that night, something that mirrored exhaustion but also tenderness. Shen Yue had noticed it before, but this time it felt different. As the director called for a break, Shen Yue didn't move. She just looked at him, and for the first time, the silence between them was louder than the dialogue they'd been practicing all week. He noticed her gaze and smiled, the kind of smile that carried understanding, as though he already knew what was weighing on her heart. She took a deep breath, her voice soft but steady, and said the words that no one expected to hear. "Miles, I can't keep pretending anymore. I think I'm in love with you." The words hung in the air like a secret too heavy to exist. Miles froze. The world seemed to slow down as her confession echoed in the empty studio. Even the crew, who had quietly stayed behind, exchanged stunned glances. This wasn't part of the script. For a moment, he didn't respond. He looked down, his fingers tracing the edge of the script as if searching for a line that would help him understand what had just happened. Then he looked up, and his eyes met hers, not as co-stars, not as friends, but as two people who had been trying to hide something real behind the illusion of performance. He stood up slowly, walked over to her, and said in a low voice, "You shouldn't have said that, you." But his tone wasn't angry. It was fragile, almost pleading. Tears gathered in her eyes, not from regret, but from the weight of truth. "I had to," she whispered. "Because pretending not to feel it hurts more than saying it out loud." Outside the studio, the night was still. The city lights reflected faintly against the glass windows as if watching their story unfold. Miles sighed deeply, his expression softening. "You know what happens if this gets out," he said, his voice cracking slightly. She nodded, knowing the cost. "Let them say what they want. For once, I just want to be honest." By the next morning, the entertainment world was in chaos. Rumors spread like wildfire. A leaked clip of their conversation, recorded unknowingly by a camera still running in the corner, went viral. Fans couldn't believe what they were hearing. Some were overjoyed, others heartbroken. But everyone was talking. What made it even more shocking was Miles' reaction after the leak. Instead of denying it, he posted a cryptic message online, just 5 words that sent the internet into a frenzy. "Sometimes truth finds its voice." That one sentence ignited a storm. Speculations rose that the two had been secretly together for months, hiding their feelings under the weight of fame and public expectations. Others claimed it was part of a publicity stunt, though deep down, fans could see the sincerity in Shen Yue's trembling voice and the emotion in Miles' eyes. As days passed, Shen Yue stayed silent, retreating from social media while Miles continued with his projects. But behind the scenes, insiders revealed that the two had been spending time together away from cameras, trying to navigate what this confession meant for both of them. Weeks later, Shen Yue appeared in a live interview, her first public appearance since the confession. The host asked the inevitable question, did she really mean what she said that night? She smiled faintly, eyes glistening, and said, "Sometimes, the lines between acting and real emotions blur. What I said that night wasn't from a script. It was from my heart. The room fell silent. The host, taken aback by her honesty, nodded slowly. And Miles? He asked softly. She took a deep breath. He knows, she said, her voice trembling just enough to betray her emotions. Fans across the world were moved. Hashtags trended for days. People replayed that clip over and over, analyzing every glance, every pause, every tear that hinted at a deeper truth. It wasn't just a confession, it was a declaration of vulnerability in an industry built on facades. And yet, even after all the chaos, one thing became clear. Shen Yue's courage reminded everyone that even in the world of fame, emotions are real. That behind every red carpet smile and every rehearsed line, there are hearts that feel, break, and heal just like anyone else. Her confession wasn't the end of her story, it was the beginning of a new chapter, one where honesty triumphed over image. And Miles, though quiet, eventually showed his side in subtle gestures that fans couldn't miss, the way he defended her from harsh comments online, the way he mentioned her name during interviews with a soft smile. The world saw love, not as a fairy tale, but as a truth that found its way through silence. So, if you've been following their story and you felt the emotion of that moment, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications because this story is far from over. What comes next will leave you breathless. The air in the studio turned still after Shen Yue's words left her lips. I'm in love with you, Miles, she whispered, her voice trembling, but her eyes, filled with unspoken truth, didn't waver. For a moment, nobody moved. The cameras kept rolling. The director hesitated to call cut, sensing something too real to interrupt. Miles Wei's expression froze. It wasn't just surprise, it was disbelief, mixed with something deeper, something he had buried for too long. He took a small step forward, then stopped, as if unsure whether to hold her or to walk away. He said softly, you don't have to do this here. But Shen Yue shook her head, her tears already falling. I've been quiet for too long. Everyone has been talking, guessing, and making stories, but none of them ever knew what I truly felt. You deserve to know it from me. The silence that followed was deafening. Even the crew, standing by with their scripts, couldn't look away. Miles looked down, took a breath, and finally spoke, you think I didn't know? Shen Yue blinked, startled. What do you mean? He smiled faintly, pain flickering across his face. You think I couldn't tell from the way you avoided me, from how you'd smile and then quickly look away, like love was something forbidden? She didn't respond, she couldn't. Her heart felt like it was collapsing under the weight of everything she had hidden. Miles took another step closer. I thought about saying something so many times, he confessed. But I was afraid that if I told you, I'd lose you. I didn't want to ruin what we had. Her tears fell faster now. And instead, we both ruined ourselves by pretending. Their words echoed in the empty studio, bouncing between camera lights and silent witnesses. It was no longer a set. It was a confession years in the making. Then, Miles gently reached out and wiped the tears from her cheek. I don't know what happens next, he said quietly. But if this is real, if what you feel is true, then don't ever take it back. She nodded slowly, her breath shaky, her heart racing. It's real, Miles. It always has been. In that moment, the lights dimmed slightly, as if the universe itself wanted to fade everything else away and leave just the two of them standing there. He finally pulled her close. No words. No script. Just silence and the sound of hearts that had waited too long to speak. The video clip of that moment went viral within hours. Fans across the world couldn't believe what they saw. Some claimed it was part of a drama scene. Others said it was a real confession accidentally caught on camera. But those who knew Shen Yue, truly knew her, said it was the most honest thing she'd ever done. Later that night, she posted a message on her private account. It simply read, sometimes, love can't wait for the perfect moment. It just happens. Miles reposted it with just one word, finally. From that day, the industry changed the way they looked at both of them. No longer as just co-stars, but as two souls whose paths were written long before they ever shared a screen. And as the world kept talking, analyzing, and guessing, Shen Yue and Miles chose silence, the kind of silence that doesn't hide love, but protects it. Because some stories don't need an ending. They just need to be felt. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because the next chapter in Shen Yue and Miles Wei's journey will reveal something no one ever saw coming. Stay tuned, the truth behind their connection is only just beginning.